Hey everyone, welcome back to the Deep Dive, right here on the Book Summary Podcast channel. You know we love to unpack these complex, thought-provoking books and give you the most valuable and interesting insights.
Yeah.
So today, we're going deep into The Success Paradox by Graham Atherton.
This book's a real mind bender. It really makes you rethink what a fulfilling and successful life, actually means.
Okay, so let's unpack this success paradox, right?
Yeah.
The main argument is that how we view social mobility, our current view, it's just way too narrow. We tend to just focus on economics, the money, right?
Yeah.
Moving up that income ladder, getting a corner office, buying a fancier car than your parents had.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's where that's where it comes in. Atherton says that this view of social mobility that actually contributes to some of the problems it's supposed to be solving,
Okay.
like inequality
Okay.
and even unhappiness.
Wait, so striving for those those high status positions could make us less happy?
Yeah. Well,
That's counterintuitive.
yeah, totally. That's counterintuitive. But see, the book, it highlights this concept called the Easterlin paradox.
Okay.
And have you ever noticed how, you get a raise, feels amazing at first, right?
Yeah.
You're excited to think of all the things you could buy.
For sure.
And then, the excitement kind of fades.
Yeah.
That's the Easterlin paradox in action. Economic progress, it boosts your happiness only up to a certain point. After that, it's diminishing returns.
Wow. That's really relatable.
Yeah.
I think everyone has experienced that, right? It's like this feeling of always chasing that next big thing. I'm starting to see how this all ties into the whole success paradox idea. So if we're all on this treadmill of economic striving, does that mean we're just making ourselves miserable?
Well, I mean, it's not that straightforward, right? The
Yeah.
point is that this narrow focus on economic success may not be the best way to measure our well-being. And the book kind of backs this up with some pretty shocking statistics about income inequality.
Okay, hit me with those stats. I'm ready for a reality check.
Okay. So in the UK, the top 10% of earners, they're now making 12 times more than the bottom 10%.
Wow.
Now, back in 1985, that difference, it was only 8 times greater.
That's a massive jump.
Yeah.
It really puts things into perspective. It's like the ladder that we're all trying to climb, it's getting steeper and more precarious.
Exactly. And one of the big misconceptions feeding this frenzy is that education. That education is the key, the ultimate key to social mobility.
Right.
That classic belief that if you just get a good education, you're guaranteed a good job, a good life.
Right. We've all been told that education is the great equalizer, right?
Yes.
But this book is saying, not so fast.
Not so fast. The job market is a completely different beast than it was even a decade ago.
Okay.
Globalization and automation are changing the game.
Yeah.
Emerging economies, they're catching up. Yeah.
And technology is automating tasks that humans used to do.
So even if we have tons of highly educated people, there might not be enough of those high-skill, high-paying jobs for everyone.
That's a big part of it, yeah. The book calls this digital Taylorism.
Okay.
Now, to really understand this, we kind of have to go back to the OG Taylorism.
Okay.
So think early 20th century.
Okay.
Factories were all about breaking down work into simple, repetitive tasks, right?
Right.
The idea was to make them as efficient as machines.
Okay.
Well, digital Taylorism, it suggests that this same mentality, it's kind of creeping into even highly skilled fields.
Wow. So even if you get that fancy degree, your job might end up feeling kind of robotic.
Yeah, it's a real possibility. The book makes you think, are we all just racing towards a future of, overqualified but underutilized workers?
That's a scary thought.
It is.
And it makes the whole educational arms race even more intense, right?
Oh, yeah. Parents are pushing their kids harder than ever,
Yeah.
hoping to give them an advantage, but maybe it's not really serving them in the long run.
That's precisely the point. The book, it makes us question whether this relentless pressure for academic achievement, is it creating more anxiety than actual opportunities?
Yeah.
And that's just scratching the surface. If you're finding this deep dive insightful, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more book breakdowns like this.
Totally. We're just getting started.
Yeah.
Now, the book isn't just about highlighting the problems, right?
No.
It also suggests that we need to rethink what success and well-being actually mean.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
it digs into some some fascinating alternative ways to measure success,
Yeah.
moving beyond just income and job titles.
Okay.
One concept that really stood out was the capability approach.
Okay. I'm intrigued. Capability approach. Break that down for me.
Okay, so imagine someone who prioritizes spending time with family over, climbing the corporate ladder.
But their capability would be high if they have access to things like flexible work arrangements,
Okay.
affordable childcare,
Okay.
and a supportive community.
Hmm.
It's all about having the freedom and resources to pursue what you value, not just what society kind of dictates.
That's a really powerful way to look at it. It's not just about achieving some abstract notion of success. It's about having the ability to create a life that aligns with your values, your personal values and priorities.
Exactly. The capability approach, it shifts the focus from outcomes to opportunities, from external validation to internal fulfillment.
I love that. It takes the pressure off of chasing those external markers of success and puts the power back in the hands of the individual.
And it doesn't stop there.
Okay.
The book also emphasizes the importance of non-cognitive skills,
Okay.
qualities like resilience, empathy, and self-control.
These are the things that, they help you navigate life's challenges, help you build strong relationships, and find meaning in your work regardless of your income level.
It's funny because we're always told to focus on those hard skills.
Yeah.
Get the good grades.
Uh-huh.
But those soft skills, the ones that help us connect with others and deal with setbacks, those are just as important.
Oh, they're just as important, if not more so.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah.
In a world where technology is automating so many tasks, it's those uniquely human qualities, creativity, compassion, critical thinking. Those are the things that are going to set us apart.
This is really making me rethink my own definition of success.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not about that big promotion or that fancy car.
Uh-huh.
Maybe it's about finding work that's meaningful, building strong relationships, and having the resilience to face whatever life throws at me.
That's the kind of shift in perspective that this book really encourages. It's about recognizing that success isn't, one size fits all.
Right.
It's about defining what matters to you and then creating a life that allows you to cultivate those values.
This is seriously mind-blowing stuff. It's
Yeah.
like we've been handed a whole new set of lenses to view the world.
Right.
And the best part is it's not just about individual change, right?
No.
The book argues that we need broader societal change too.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's not enough to just, change our own mindsets.
Right.
We need to create systems and institutions that support this broader definition of success. The book suggests that institutions like our education system,
Yeah.
businesses,
Yeah.
even our political systems, they need to adopt a vision that includes well-being and ethical behavior,
Yeah.
not just economic growth.
That's a tall order.
It is.
Do you think it's even possible to shift the focus of these massive institutions away from pure economic growth?
Well, it won't be easy, that's for sure. But the book offers some thought-provoking examples of what that shift might look like. One idea that really stood out was the concept of a social license for markets.
Okay, social license. I've never heard that term before.
Okay. So essentially it means that businesses, they should be held accountable for their impact on society as a whole, not just, their bottom line.
Right.
It's about recognizing that companies, they have a responsibility to operate ethically and sustainably.
Yeah.
Even if it means sacrificing some short-term profits.
That sounds amazing in theory, but how do we actually hold these powerful corporations accountable?
Yeah.
Feels like David versus Goliath sometimes.
It's definitely a challenge, but
Yeah.
the book argues that it starts with shifting our values as consumers and citizens.
Oh.
We need to demand more from the companies we support. And we need to hold our elected officials accountable for creating policies that prioritize well-being over pure economic growth.
It's funny because we often feel powerless to change these big systems.
Yeah.
But you're right. It starts with our individual choices and our collective voices, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have more power than we realize.
Absolutely. Every dollar we spend, every vote we cast, every conversation we have, it all contributes to shaping the world we live in.
This is inspiring stuff.
Yeah.
The book doesn't just point out the problems.
No.
It offers a roadmap for for creating a better future, both for ourselves and for society as a whole.
And the best part is it's not a one-size-fits-all prescription, right?
Yeah.
It encourages us to have these conversations, to
Yeah.
challenge our assumptions, and to come up with our own solutions.
I love that. It's about empowering each of us to become, active participants in shaping the future we want to see.
Exactly. And before we move on, I just want to remind everyone, that this deep dive is brought to you by the Book Summary Podcast channel.
Yes.
If you're enjoying this conversation and want to hear more, breakdowns of insightful books like this one, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe.
Yes, please do. We're passionate about making complex ideas accessible and empowering you with knowledge. All right, let's dive back into the success paradox. One of the things that really stood out to me was this book's discussion of a potential dystopian future.
Oh, yeah.
Yikes. That sounds intense.
Yeah. That section, it definitely paints a vivid picture of what could happen if we stay on this current trajectory.
Okay.
The author, he argues that this relentless focus on economic advancement, it could lead to a future where we're constantly chasing a shrinking number of those high-quality jobs.
That's a self-fulfilling prophecy, right?
Yeah.
The more we buy into this narrow definition of success, the more we create those conditions that make it harder to achieve.
Exactly. And this ties into another key point the book makes.
Okay.
How different academic disciplines, how they view social mobility. It's like it's like looking at the same problem through completely different lenses.
Okay, let's break that down. How do sociologists and economists approach this issue?
So sociologists, they've traditionally focused on this concept of class and how it shapes our life chances. They look at things like, family background, social networks, and cultural capital.
Okay.
To understand how these factors, influence an individual's trajectory.
So they're looking at the bigger picture, right?
Yeah.
Considering those systemic factors that impact social mobility.
Right. Now, economists, they tend to take a more quantitative approach.
Right.
Focusing on, measurable factors like income, education levels, and occupational status.
So they're looking at the numbers, right?
Yeah.
Trying to track how people's economic positions, how they change over time.
Exactly. And the book points out that both approaches, while valuable, they have their limitations.
Okay.
Sociologists, they sometimes struggle to quantify their findings.
Okay.
While economists, they might overlook the social and cultural factors that influence economic outcomes.
It's like those classic nature versus nurture debates, right?
Yeah.
Are we shaped more by our environment or by our individual choices?
It's a complex interplay of both.
Yeah.
And the book argues that we need a more holistic understanding of social mobility.
Yeah.
One that takes into account both the structural and individual factors, that shape our lives.
It's like those optical illusions where you can see two different images depending on how you look at it, right?
Yeah.
We need to be able to shift our perspective, see the bigger picture.
That's a great analogy. And it leads to another important point the book raises.
Okay.
The idea that education, while important, isn't always the guaranteed solution to social mobility that we've been led to believe.
Right, because earlier we were talking about how the job market is changing, rapidly.
Yeah.
And there might not be enough of those high-paying, high-skilled jobs to go around, even for those with advanced degrees.
Exactly. And the book really, it digs into this idea.
Okay.
Looking at the research that suggests a trend toward what's called a highly skilled, low-wage economy.
Wait, hold on. That sounds like a contradiction. How can you have a highly skilled workforce and still have low wages?
Yeah. It's a complex issue.
Okay.
But the book points to the impact of globalization.
Okay.
Companies, they can now locate their operations in countries with lower labor costs, even for jobs that require specialized knowledge. This creates global competition for those high-skilled jobs, which can drive down wages even in developed economies.
It's like that saying, a rising tide lifts all boats.
Yeah.
But in this case, maybe the tide is rising, but some boats are being left behind.
That's a powerful image. And And it highlights the fact that even with increased access to education,
Yeah.
the economic benefits, they might not be distributed equally.
So it's not just about getting a degree, right? It's about navigating a complex and constantly changing global economy.
Exactly. And this brings us back to that idea of redefining success.
Okay.
Maybe it's not just about chasing, a higher income,
Yeah.
but about finding fulfillment in other aspects of life.
Right.
Developing those non-cognitive skills that help us thrive in any environment.
It's about becoming more adaptable, more resilient, and more connected to our communities and our values.
You got it. It's about recognizing that true success is about so much more than just, climbing that economic ladder.
Yeah.
It's about creating a life that's rich and meaningful, regardless of your income level.
Yeah.
And on that note,
Yeah.
I think it's a good place to pause, give our listeners a chance to digest all this amazing information. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the Book Summary Podcast for more deep dives like this.
Absolutely. We'll be back soon with more insights from the Success Paradox.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Before the break, we were exploring how the Success Paradox challenges us to, rethink our definition of success and consider these alternative pathways beyond the traditional idea of upward mobility.
Yeah, we were just talking about how this book, it really encourages us to kind of broaden our perspective on what a successful life looks like. It's not just about climbing that economic ladder. It's about so much more.
Right. It's about finding fulfillment in those different areas of life. Right. So what are some of those alternative pathways that the book highlights? I'm really curious to hear more about this ecological university model.
Okay.
It sounds fascinating.
It is. It's a really intriguing concept. Imagine an education system that's less about preparing students for specific jobs and more about fostering their well-being and encouraging lifelong learning. That's the essence of the ecological university.
So it's more holistic.
Yes.
Less focused on just, churning out graduates for this predefined workforce.
Exactly. It's about equipping students with a wider range of skills that are valuable in a rapidly changing world, like, critical thinking, adaptability, creativity, and the ability to learn and grow throughout their lives.
It sounds like it could be a powerful antidote to, some of the anxieties we were talking about earlier, like that intense pressure to get into the right college and land that perfect job right out of school.
It definitely has that potential. It's about shifting the focus from external validation to internal fulfillment, helping students develop a sense of purpose and passion.
Yeah.
That goes beyond just, earning a paycheck.
That's a huge shift in mindset, but it makes me wonder how realistic is it to implement such a radical change to the education system. Think about all the funding structures,
right?
Standardized testing, and entrenched beliefs that we'd have to overcome.
Yeah, it's a massive undertaking for sure. But the book argues that it starts with changing the conversation.
Okay.
We need to start valuing different types of intelligence. Recognizing that success can take many forms.
It's about challenging those deeply ingrained assumptions, right?
Yep.
About what constitutes a good education.
Exactly.
Instead of just focusing on grades and test scores.
Mm-hmm.
We need to be nurturing those essential human qualities.
Yes.
That will help, students thrive in any environment.
Absolutely. And speaking of, alternative pathways, the book also highlights the rise of apprenticeships as a valuable route to success.
Apprenticeships, isn't that more of a vocational track, something separate from traditional higher ed?
That's often the perception, but the book challenges that view.
Okay.
It argues that apprenticeships can offer a practical, hands-on approach to learning that can lead to fulfilling and well-paying careers in a variety of fields.
And it's interesting. So it's not just about learning a trade anymore. You're saying there are apprenticeships in fields like tech and healthcare too.
Exactly. And the book points out that apprenticeships, they can be a great option for people who learn best by doing, who thrive in a hands-on environment.
Okay.
Plus, you're earning while you're learning,
Right.
which can be a huge advantage in today's economy.
It's like a win-win, right?
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
gaining valuable skills and experience while also getting paid.
Hmm.
It's a much more, practical approach to education
Uh-huh.
than just, racking up student loan debt and hoping to find a job that matches your degree.
Right, right. And it speaks to the larger point the book is making.
Hmm.
There's no one size fits all path to success.
Right.
We need to create a more diverse ecosystem of opportunities,
Okay.
recognizing that different people, they thrive in different environments.
This is making me think that we need to get rid of that stigma around apprenticeships.
Yeah.
It's like they've been relegated to this second tier status.
Yeah.
But maybe they should be front and center as a viable option for many people.
I totally agree. We need to reframe the conversation,
Yeah.
and recognize the value of different learning styles and career paths.
And it's not just about that initial training either, right?
Yeah.
The book also emphasizes the importance of lifelong learning.
That's a key point. In today's, rapidly changing world, the skills you learn in school, whether it's a traditional university or an apprenticeship,
Yeah.
they might not be enough to sustain a successful career over the long term.
Right.
It's about continuously adapting, upskilling, and reskilling to stay relevant.
It's like that saying, the only constant is change,
Mhm.
right? We need to embrace the idea that learning is an ongoing process, not just something you do in school.
Exactly. The book, it encourages individuals to be proactive, about seeking out new knowledge and skills throughout their lives.
Yeah.
It could be through, formal education,
Yeah.
online courses,
Yeah.
mentorship programs,
Okay.
even just by reading books and being curious about the world.
That's what I love about this book. It's so empowering.
Yeah.
It's not about waiting for someone to hand you a roadmap to success. It's about taking ownership of your own journey and creating your own definition of what a fulfilling life looks like.
It's about recognizing that success is a journey, not a destination.
Yeah.
And that journey might look, very, very different for each individual.
We've been talking a lot about individual responsibility, but the book also acknowledges the importance of institutions and societal values
Yeah.
in shaping our understanding of social mobility, right?
Right.
It's not just about individual effort. It's about creating a system that supports a wider definition of success.
Absolutely. The book argues that institutions, our education systems,
Yeah.
businesses,
Yeah.
even our political systems, they need to adopt a vision of success that goes beyond just economic growth.
Hmm.
It's about prioritizing well-being, ethical behavior, and creating a more just and equitable society for everyone.
That sounds like a pretty big shift. It's like we've been conditioned to believe that economic growth is the ultimate measure of progress.
Uh-huh.
But maybe we need to rethink that.
The book, it definitely challenges that assumption.
Yeah.
It suggests that we need to find a better balance between economic prosperity and social well-being.
Okay, but how do we actually make that happen? How do we shift the focus of these massive institutions away from purely economic goals? It feels like an uphill battle sometimes.
It's a huge challenge, no doubt. But the book offers some concrete examples of what that shift might look like in practice. We were talking about the idea of a social license for markets earlier.
Right.
That's one example.
Right. So it's about holding businesses accountable for their impact on society, not just their profits.
Exactly. And the book also suggests a more ecological approach to education, which we were discussing earlier.
Right.
It's about creating a system that nurtures that nurtures well-rounded individuals who are equipped to contribute to, to society in meaningful ways.
Yeah.
Not just, fill specific job roles.
I love that. So it's about rethinking the purpose of education, right?
Yeah.
Making it more about, developing those essential human qualities, creativity, empathy,
Yeah.
resilience that will help students thrive in any environment.
Exactly. It's about moving beyond that narrow focus on just, getting a job and making money.
It's about investing in the long-term health and well-being of our society, right?
Precisely. And the book also digs into some of the challenges and anxieties, around achieving social mobility. Even using the term dystopian future at one point.
Yeah, I remember that section. It definitely paints a rather bleak picture of what could happen if we continue down this path of relentless economic striving.
Right.
What exactly is the book warning us about?
So it's highlighting the potential consequences of this pursuit of upward mobility without considering the broader impact on individuals and society.
Okay.
The book argues that this narrow focus on economic advancement could lead to a future where we're constantly chasing a shrinking number of those high quality jobs,
Okay.
creating a hyper competitive environment and a skewed sense of what a good life actually entails.
So it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy, right?
Correct.
The more we buy into this limited definition of success, the more we create those conditions that make it harder to achieve.
Exactly. And this hyper competitiveness, it can lead to a lot of anxiety and stress.
Right.
Especially for young people, who are feeling the pressure to succeed in a system that feels increasingly, rigged against them.
This is making me think about the whole comparison trap.
Yeah.
That we all fall into sometimes. It's like with social media and everything. It's so easy to get caught up in comparing ourselves to others.
Yeah.
And feeling like we're not good enough, not successful enough.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe this relentless focus on upward mobility,
Mm-hmm.
it just fuels that fire.
That's a great point. The book is really prompting us, to examine those underlying beliefs and assumptions,
Yeah.
that drive our behavior. It's about recognizing that true fulfillment, it comes from within, from aligning our actions with our values.
And speaking of underlying beliefs, the book also challenges another deeply ingrained assumption
Mm-hmm.
that education is the ultimate solution to the problem of social mobility.
Right.
It's like we've been told for generations that if you just get a good education, all your doors will magically open.
Right. But as we were discussing earlier, the job market is changing so rapidly.
Yeah.
And the traditional path of going to college, and getting a good job isn't as straightforward as it used to be.
Right.
The book it points to the impact of globalization and automation.
Yeah.
Emerging economies, they're becoming more competitive.
Right.
And technology is rapidly changing the nature of work.
So even if we have like tons of highly educated people, there might not be enough of those high-skilled, high-paying jobs
Right.
to go around.
Exactly. And the book goes even further,
Okay.
arguing that even the jobs that do require specialized knowledge,
Yeah.
they're becoming more routine and regimented.
Okay.
It uses the term digital Taylorism to describe this phenomenon.
Right. We talked about that earlier. It's like even though we're encouraged to, pursue higher education, we might still end up in jobs that feel, soul-crushing and unfulfilling.
It's a sobering thought, and
Yeah.
it makes you wonder: are we putting too much emphasis on on formal education as the be all end all solution
Right.
to social mobility. Maybe we need to be focusing on developing a wider range of skills and fostering, adaptability and resilience
Yeah.
so people can thrive in a constantly changing work environment.
It's like we need to be preparing for jobs that don't even exist yet.
Yeah.
How do you even begin to do that?
That's where the book's, emphasis on lifelong learning and non-cognitive skills comes in.
Okay.
It's about developing those core human qualities,
Mhm.
creativity, problem solving,
Yeah.
communication, collaboration.
Okay.
That will be valuable, no matter what the future holds.
This conversation is seriously making me rethink everything I thought I knew about success. It's like the success paradox. It has cracked open my mind and let in a whole new way of seeing the world.
That's the power of a truly insightful book. It challenges your assumptions. It expands your perspective and leaves you with more questions than answers.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing. It means we're engaging in, critical thinking and having these important conversations about what truly matters in life.
This deep dive has been incredible. And speaking of deep dives, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the Book Summary podcast channel for more thought-provoking discussions like this.
We love bringing you these insightful book breakdowns and making complex ideas accessible to everyone. And before we move on to the final part of our deep dive, I'd like to pose a question to our listeners.
Okay.
If you could redesign the education system, from scratch, what would it look like? What skills and qualities would you prioritize?
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments.
Great question.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear your thoughts. We'll be back soon with more insights from the success paradox. Welcome back to the deep dive. We're wrapping up our exploration of the success paradox, and this book has really challenged my thinking about what it means, to live a truly successful and fulfilling life.
It is definitely a thought-provoking read.
Yeah.
In the last segment, we were talking about how those traditional markers of success, like income level and job title, they might, not be the best indicators of overall well-being.
Right. And the book suggests that we need to shift our focus from, social mobility to something called the capability approach.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm really intrigued by this idea.
Yeah.
But I'm still a little fuzzy on the details.
Okay.
Can you break that down for me again?
Of course. So think of capability as the freedom and the ability to achieve the things, that you value in life.
Okay.
And this goes way beyond just, material wealth or social status.
Okay.
It encompasses a whole range of factors, both material and non-material.
So it's not just about, having a high income.
Yeah.
But about having the opportunity and the resources to live a life that aligns with your own, personal values and aspirations.
Exactly. It's about having genuine, choices and the ability to pursue those choices,
Right.
whether it's, spending time with loved ones,
Yeah.
pursuing creative passions,
Right.
contributing to your community, or anything else that gives your life meaning.
I love that idea. It takes the pressure off of chasing, those external markers of success and puts the power back in the hands of the individual.
Absolutely. The capability approach, it recognizes that different people, they value different things, and that there's no one size fits all definition of a good life.
It's about empowering individuals to create their own unique paths to fulfillment.
Precisely. And the book, it argues that this shift in focus, from social mobility to capability, it has profound implications for how we think about education,
Okay.
work,
Okay.
and even our political systems.
Okay. So how does this capability approach, how does it translate into actual changes in those areas?
Well, let's start with education. The capability approach suggests that our education systems, they should be about, more than just preparing students for the workforce. It should be about equipping them with the knowledge, the skills, and the mindset they need to live, fulfilling and meaningful lives regardless of their chosen career paths.
So it's not just about, rote memorization and test taking.
Right.
It's about developing those critical thinking skills.
Yeah.
That sense of curiosity and wonder.
Yeah.
And those non-cognitive skills we were talking about earlier.
Exactly. It's about fostering creativity, resilience, empathy, and the ability to navigate a complex and constantly changing world.
It's about helping students become, well-rounded human beings, not just
Yeah.
cogs in a machine.
Right. And when it comes to work, the capability approach, it suggests that we need to create more opportunities for people to find, meaning and purpose in their jobs, not just a paycheck.
It's about creating a work environment that values employee well-being.
Yeah.
Fosters a sense of community and encourages personal and personal growth.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that work is not just about, economic productivity,
Right.
but also about, contributing to something larger than yourself.
Yeah.
And finding fulfillment in your daily endeavors.
That resonates with me so much. It's like we spend so much of our lives working that it seems tragic to just view it as a means to an end.
I agree. And the book argues that this shift in focus from social mobility to capability, it also has implications, for our political systems.
Okay, I'm curious to hear more about that. How does politics fit into this picture?
Well, it suggests that we need to move beyond, the traditional left-right divide on issues like inequality and social welfare.
So it's not just about, redistributing wealth or creating more opportunities for upward mobility. It's about creating a society that enables everyone to live a good life, regardless of their social status or economic background.
Precisely. It's about fostering a sense of shared responsibility and creating policies that support individual well-being and societal flourishing as a whole.
That sounds like a pretty ambitious goal, but it also sounds incredibly hopeful and inspiring.
Huh.
It's like shifting our focus from competition to collaboration, from scarcity to abundance.
It's a paradigm shift for sure. And while the book, it acknowledges the challenges of implementing such a fundamental change in thinking.
Yeah.
It also offers a sense of hope and possibility. It suggests that by embracing a more holistic and compassionate approach to social mobility, we can create a more just, equitable and fulfilling society for all.
What an incredible message. It's like this book is calling for a revolution, not a violent one,
Yeah.
but a revolution in our thinking and our values.
Yeah. Exactly. It's a call to action, urging us to redefine success, to challenge our assumptions and create a more equitable and fulfilling world.
And one thing that really struck me throughout this book is the emphasis on values.
Right.
It's not just about changing, our economic or our political system.
Right.
It's about examining our core beliefs about what constitutes, a good life and a just society.
Absolutely. The success paradox, it constantly reminds us that social mobility, it's not just an economic or political issue. It's deeply intertwined with our values and beliefs about what truly matters, in life.
It's about asking ourselves those big existential questions, right?
Mm.
What kind of world do we want to live in?
Yeah.
What kind of legacy do we want to leave for future generations?
Those are questions. Those are questions that we all need to be grappling with, regardless of our social status, our economic background or our political beliefs.
This deep dive has has been so eye-opening. The Success Paradox is a powerful and timely book, and I feel like it's given me a whole new framework for thinking about success, well-being, and the kind of world I want to be a part of, creating.
I completely agree. It's a book that stays with you long after you finish reading it,
Yeah.
prompting you to continue examining your own values and consider how you can contribute to a more just and equitable society.
And before we wrap up, I want to remind everyone to like this video and subscribe to the Book Summary Podcast channel for more in-depth analyses of thought-provoking books like The Success Paradox.
And if you're, feeling inspired to explore these ideas further, the book offers, a wealth of resources and suggestions for taking action in your own communities.
It's not just about, absorbing this information.
Yeah.
It's about putting it into practice,
Yeah.
and making a real difference in the world.
Exactly. And one of the most important takeaways from the Success Paradox is that we all have a role to play in creating a more just and equitable society.
Yeah.
Whether it's, through our choices as consumers,
Yes.
our actions as citizens, or our engagement in our communities.
Yeah.
We can all contribute to a better future.
It's about taking ownership of our own definitions of success and well-being, right?
Uh-huh.
And working together to create a world where everyone has the opportunity to thrive.
Beautifully said. And on that note,
Okay.
we'll leave our listeners with one final thought-provoking question to ponder. If we were to create a holistic social mobility manifesto for the 21st century,
Okay.
what would it include?
Yeah.
What values and principles would we prioritize?
Yeah.
What kind of world would we envision?
What a great question to reflect on. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the Success Paradox. We'll see you next time on the Book Summary Podcast.